Добрий день, друзі. Медіа-центр
Good afternoon, dear friends. Ukraine Media Center to Ukrinform continues its work, and now in our studio we have Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, who will tell us about the situation at the front by this hour. You're welcome. Good afternoon, dear friends. I'd like to share with you information about military aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine, information as of today, 4th of May. So the Russian command has been trying to speed up its offensive operation in eastern Ukraine in order to get to administrative boundaries of Luhansk and Donetsk Oblast, as well as develop offensive in some parts of Zaporizhia and Kryvyi Rih directions. And to that end, the enemy has been rearranging its troops and strengthening them, increasing its fire impact, fire effect, and logistical support. To conduct aviation strikes, air strikes against targets in Kharkiv, Donetsk, Kirovohrad, Odessa, Lviv, and Transcarpathian provinces, the enemy has been using tactical and strategic aviation. Almost 50 airstrikes have been made, including using controlled airborne missiles. Russian Tupolev-160 strategic bombers have launched cruise missiles 18 times from air over the Caspian Sea against targets in Ukraine in order to damage our transport infrastructure. Now brief information by key areas. In Slobozhanщина direction, the aggressor has been using its troops from the 6th Army of Western Military District, 41st Army of the Central Military District, and Coast Guard of the Baltic Fleet to make air strikes against Kharkiv. And in the course of strengthening its group from Belgorod Oblast, several dozens of trucks with personnel have been moved through Movchansk. In Izum direction, the enemy has been trying to capture the initiative and carries out offensive action in the direction between Izum and Barvinkovo, and to that end the enemy has been shelling with artillery around Hrushevakha, Novodmitrievka, and Kurulka. In Donetsk direction, Russian troops, including so-called 1st and 2nd Army Corps, as well as 8th Army and 58th Army, carries out offensive action and firing effect almost along the whole front line. The enemy has focused his main efforts on offensive towards Liman, Horikha, Popasna, Velika Novosilka, Guляйполе, and Kamyshevacha. In southern Bug and Tavria directions, the aggressor has been using its 8th, 49th Army and 22nd Army Corps to carry out military action in order to strengthen its position in taking territories and create preconditions to stir up its offensive action. In Kryvyi Rih direction, the enemy has been shelling with artillery around the Sakharivka, Mykolaiivka, and Topolino. In Volyn, Politsk, and Siversk directions, the situation there remains without significant changes. According to our information, some units of Belarusian armed forces continue to implement assignments to strengthen protection of border between Belarus and Ukraine in Brest and Gomel Oblast. In the future, we cannot exclude some demonstrative and provocative actions along the state border of Ukraine. In Black Sea and Sea of Azov areas of operations, Russian ships located in Black Sea and Sea of Azov continue isolating the combat area and trying to carry out reconnaissance. We cannot exclude that ships of Russian Navy will continue rocket strikes against the territory of Ukraine. In particular now, according to our intelligence, in the Black Sea there are 3 carriers of caliber sea-based cruise missiles, and today their total launch capacity is up to 22 rockets. In the meantime, Ukrainian troops continue cause significant losses to occupiers in terms of both personnel and equipment. I have to say that during the last day alone, air defense units of the air forces and ground forces of Ukrainian armed forces have destroyed 7 UAVs of the enemy as well as 8 cruise missiles. In the territories of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast alone, during the last day, our defenders have repelled 12 enemy's attacks, destroyed 6 tanks, 5 artillery systems, including 3 multiple launch rocket systems, 15 armed fighting vehicles, and 10 vehicles of the enemy. The total losses of the enemy incurred from the 24th February until today are shown on this slide. That's basically all the information I have at the moment. Thank you for attention. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes. Thank you, Mr. Motuzyanyk. Dear colleagues, you're welcome. You can ask your questions, but please use the microphone.
Thank you very much. The defense spokesperson, thank you very much for your information. And obviously, I have questions for you. And we heard about the Russian army would try to get more heavy bomb or whatever, try to successful before the May 9th of May, and for victory days, and this is an anniversary for our Second World War victory. And what do you think? This is a problem with they might have a lot of battle in the field. And the second question, which is all the alliance, the commemorate days on Second World War, which is on 8th of May. So do you country and your army force have a kind of a Second World War victory commemorate day on which they are, what are you going to prepare for that? Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. About your second question, this is quite a broad question. Definitely, this is the official holiday, that the day of victory over Nazism in Second World War. Of course, it will be celebrated in our country in the situation that we have today. With regard to the 9th of May, which is to be celebrated in the Russian Federation, of course, they want to achieve some results. But I already answered similar questions. The Russian Federation, even if they don't achieve their strategic goals, and they haven't achieved them by today, they can invent those victories and show them on TV. That's not any major problem for them. But of course, we understand that we don't have much time until the date, and it makes us more careful in all directions, not only in those areas of combat action, but in those relatively quiet areas. We can expect certain provocations or some more active shelling from the Russian army. So what sort of victories Russia can make until the 9th of May? I cannot say that. We have just monitored the situation. Let's wait and see, and then we'll see. Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions? I'm Maria Gonchar from Ukrinform. Could you please tell us, there was some information that Russia is preparing for some parade for the 9th of May. Maybe you will have some information about any form of that parade. Could you tell us? I don't have that information. Yeah, I also, like you, I heard about it. We will speak with Ukrainian intelligence and we'll hear, maybe they will be able to tell us something in more detail. Russian Federation likes various parades. You remember they already had similar parades in Donetsk. There was a parade of prisoners of war, or they can invent something else. But, you know, I don't know in more detail what they're going to do in Mariupol. I can just say that Russia tries to do some screening and filtration there. There are some attempts and there are some facts to deport our people into the Russian Federation, to bring people into the Russian Federation by force without their consent. That's 21st century. That's a crime committed by the Russian Federation. That's what they are currently committing in this city, which has been basically destroyed by the Russian army. I'm from France Press Agency. I'm Dmitry Roshkov. Mr. Motuzyanyk, could you please tell us now what's the situation in Mariupol, namely at Azovstal steel factory? Yesterday we heard from the Ukrainian military being there. We heard some information that the Russian troops started new strong assault, strong attack. After that we didn't hear any news. What's going on at the moment? What's the situation there at the moment? Thank you. The Russian Federation continues siege of our units around Azovstal steel factory. That's basically all I can tell you. There have been some assault attempts. From time to time there was artillery shelling, rocket strikes from aircraft. What the situation right now at this minute I cannot tell you because I don't have very latest data. Thank you, you're welcome. Good afternoon, I'm Michal Potocki from Poland. I'd like to ask you about how the situation develops in Transnistria, whether we have any data about what may have changed there over the last day. Thank you. Over the last day, there have been no significant changes in Transnistria. By and large, there is a difficult security situation there. The local authorities there prohibited any activities also in military facilities, military units. The Russian units located there are on full high alert, combat alert. Local armed units of Transnistria are also on high alert. Additionally, the Russian Federation continues to scare local people. Allegedly, they say there is some threat for Transnistria from Ukraine, but that's complete rubbish. Russian propaganda says something about some Ukrainian UAVs allegedly flying over Russian storage of ammunition and weapons, but that's not true, absolutely. I can just say that the situation there is not that easy. As of now, we don't see any huge threat for Ukraine from Transnistria, but our general staff carefully watches over that situation and monitors what's going on there. Thank you. Friends, any more questions? You're welcome.
Thank you, President. And I think it's, the war battle looks like will be getting more trouble in the front line. And obviously, the people thinking about the war and there's no stopping ending day, of course. 70 days went, and the still battle is very hard. And how do you think, and the battle, the Ukraine force, they can holding online until 9th of May? Because this victory, for the Russia side, maybe some tips, you know. So how do you think you can holding that line and until fighting for Russia? Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your question. I don't just think, I am absolutely sure, and I verily believe in it, because I'd like to emphasize again, in east of Ukraine, you have created a strong Ukrainian group, armed group. Our soldiers and officers have been fighting for 8 years there, and also today, under permanent shelling of the enemy, practically around the clock, they hold the defense line and they successfully push back enemy's attacks. They destroy enemy's tanks, they destroy enemy's personnel and equipment, they down their UAVs and so on. So currently, what Ukrainian servicemen do in the East is an example of exemplary courage and heroism, and I don't have any doubt. I'm sure that the Russian Federation will not be able to achieve its strategic goals, and it's not only about Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts or south of Ukraine, but it applies to the whole Ukraine. We will fight because the enemy only understands force. No other methods do not affect the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation only understands force, and we do have that force. Of course, Russian army has to be strengthened with Western weapons, with modern military equipment, and this process is also going on, and it will bring us even more force to push aggressor away from our land. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Mr. Motuzyanyk. Thank you for being with us. Now we are developing our schedule for tomorrow, so you're welcome to monitor it. See you.